What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes show. The Twins. Good old Minnesota Twins.
This is exactly how we drew it up, right? I mean, we both admitted that we got to the realization that it doesn't count as far as like even if the Twins were to exercise their demons against the Yankees in the regular season, it wouldn't matter. It's not what they need. So they're not wasting anything, but goddamn, their outfield is a bad outfield. They're terrible. They don't know how to field the ball. Left field, center field, very bad. Very bad.
How many outs there are?
Yeah,
nothing.
I don't know what's happening with Rocco Baldelli. It must be that Rhode Island education.
Yeah. He went to Hendricken. That was a rival high school for my school. No, but yeah, you're right. They're missing Byron Buxton. Obviously, he's their best player.
Aren't they always?
That's what I was gonna say. But it's like I was talking to Kyle, who's like the only Twins fan I know, and he's like, this team is just really, can't go without Byron Buxton. I was like, it's kind of a problem for you, huh?
Yeah, Byron Buxton's never healthy. Byron Buxton's always been like, hey, this guy is really good, and when he's healthy for like the 3 weeks of the season that he is, you're like, oh my god, this guy's otherworldly, and then you don't see him again for a very long time.
Yeah, I was like,
it's unfortunate because he's a great talent. Can't stay on the field.
Let me tell you something about injury guys, because the Yankees have had plenty of them. Injury guys get injured. That's what happens to them. It was a series sweep, just dominant pitching. The Twins came in to this series on their hot streak, scoring 6.5 runs per game. And the Yankees completely shut them down. Nothing, not a sniff.
It's impressive. This whole thing, the whole pitching staff has been impressive. The rotation in this series is awesome, dude. Clark Schmidt 4 times through the order. You want 3? I give you 4 times through the order.
Well,
and I'm glad John Birdie hasn't
done 3.
I'm glad John Birdie had he did 3 this time.
Kidding.
And then he did 4. I'm glad John Birdie had the error because it gave him another person to go deeper into the game for the 4th time, which made me happy and was able to get it. So, I mean, he looks really, really good and really confident. And there's nothing that's saying that he hasn't turned that corner. I mean, he's the past 3-4 outings, he's pitched deeper, and this one obviously was his deepest. And I think he's in control. He's in absolute control of what he's doing on the mound right there. And it's fun to watch. It really is.
I think last time, didn't we say best start of his career? And he followed it up with an even better start. Obviously, best start of his career, 8 shutout innings. We were talking just before we pressed record. Like this is almost to a T how they were winning games in May of 2022, when every single night out, it seemed like the starters were going 7+ innings. And yeah, when the Yankees go and shut the bats down for 3 straight nights, give the offense, the offense also had so many opportunities. I pulled the numbers. I forget off the top of my head. It was 38, right? I think they had 38. Yes, they were 11 for 38 with runners in scoring position. The Yankees were 38 opportunities in 3 games, and that's a 290 or 289 average, 290 call it.
How many hits did they have on Wednesday? They were 15, 16 hits. It was something crazy because they like through 4 innings they had like 10 hits. It was something wild. And Aaron Judge, by the way, now ahead of Juan Soto in OPS. Don't look now, but this guy has been on a freaking heater and past Juan Soto, who obviously has been slumping. But it's crazy that he struggled as much as he did for the first month of the season, and we're now May 16th, halfway through the second month of the season, and he's already surpassed Juan Soto after the insane extended month that Soto had. Really, month and about a month, the first month plus. But this just shows you how when Aaron Judge gets locked in, how absolutely dangerous he is. So we have 2 of those guys, which is crazy.
Yeah, the nice thing about Soto slumping, and we're going to do the positives and negatives from the series. Let's get the negatives out of the way, I guess, because there's really not a lot of them, and even one of the negatives isn't really a negative. Juan Soto's slump, the last 7 days, he's hitting 120. The last 15 days, he's hitting 250. The last 30 days, that's pretty much most of the season at this point, he's hitting 288. That's not exactly a slump with a 901 OPS. It's really the last week to 2 or 3 series that he's really slumping. And you're right. Judge's OPS is now 948 to his 920. Soto still has the edge on Judge slightly in WAR, 2.3 to 2.1. But the thing that is great is the offense is picking him up. If Soto went into a slump 3 weeks ago when the offense around him was sputtering, the Yankees would have been shit out of luck for scoring runs. But now Soto's in a slump. Judge is on fire. Volpe turned it around. Other guys in the order, whoever's hitting fifth or sixth, since whoever's hitting fourth seemingly can't hit, but whoever's hitting fifth or sixth is hitting. So it's the collection around Soto who's now picking him up while he's slumping.
I mentioned this in our chat earlier today. It's because I think it's funny how there is conversation and narrative around slumps, and it absolutely, the timing of that slump is so dependent on how people feel about that person in that moment and what their reaction to is. If Juan Soto had started out his Yankees career like Aaron Judge started out in the month of April, we would have been burying this guy already. And Aaron Judge, to a point, for no, there's no reason why any fan of the New York Yankees should be talking negatively about this guy and not think that he's going to figure it out unless there was an injury, but there wasn't. He has obviously turned it around. There's obviously nothing wrong. He just started out slow for whatever reason. And it's just funny because if the roles were reversed, you would hear absolute, complete, complaining across the board about Juan Soto. And now you're barely hearing about the slump that he's in.
Yeah.
Barely hearing about it because of what he did first.
Exactly. It's tough to start your career, whether you're traded for, whether you come up as a rookie, whether you're a big free agent. If you start off poorly, that's the first thing people think of, and that's what everyone's going to assume you're going to go back to. That's just, I guess, the nature of humanity. That's how people are accustomed, especially Yankees fans who are always quicker to boo you, always a little bit more cynical. That Northeast sports mentality versus if you're playing out in San Diego or Texas or Florida or whatever, where frankly, people just don't care as much.
I was going to say, we care a lot. And the thing with Soto too, is like now what was, we already saw the damage that he could do. We saw how absolutely dominant he could be. And now it's just, oh yeah, it's a slump. It happens. This happens in baseball. This is exactly what he'll be fine.
The
because
whole
guys
time
slump.
we said he was going to slump. We were never like, he's going to hit 390 the entire year. I mean, I guess the thing is, if you're looking for concern with Soto, is he is over the last 7 days, he's hitting 120. Obviously that's a concern, but he's also not walking during this time. He's only got a 179 on base percentage during that period. I'm not saying his at-bats have been horrible. I still think his at-bats are competitive. It's just a lot of those at-bats that were going to 3-2 counts and then resulting in a walk are now resulting in a strikeout or weak contact. And there was one particular moment on Monday's game when he came up in the second inning. This was after Volpe got that sort of bloop gapper to make it first and third in that game. So it's first and third, one out, and he strikes out. And that's an uncharacteristic thing for Soto from what we had seen pretty much the whole season. Because what did we say all the time with him? He's going to have something productive. He's going to either pass the torch, he's going to get a runner in, he's going to do something positive. And in that situation, he didn't. The Yankees didn't score another run in that opportunity. But so if you're looking for a concern, it's that even though he's not hitting, he's also not getting his walks right now.
Yeah. Okay. And no one should be looking for a concern because usually when you're slumping, you're not seeing. I just said if you were as well. And frankly, if you're walking and you're still slumping, like something is he's just not seeing the ball as well.
Well, we kind of saw that with Judge though in the first month of the season. While he clearly was not making strong contact, and he did have at bats where he looked completely lost. He still took a decent amount of walks.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I'm not concerned one bit about Juan Soto. Juan Soto has a track record, and guys with track records, I give them the benefit of the doubt when they have, years of showing me that they know how to play baseball, and we can kind of tell what their style is, and we understand what their numbers will most likely be at the end of the year. Then I give that guy the benefit of the doubt. Aaron Judge is one of them as well, and we're seeing that. I think guys can benefit from being around those two more than anything else. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to, at the end of the year, look back and we're going to say, hey, this guy and that guy benefited and had a better season because Aaron Judge and Juan Soto were in the lineup around them and they were seeing better pitches. That's what we're going to see.
Do you know what will be
Anthony
interesting?
Volpe's going to be one of those guys.
What is a classic Yankees and Aaron Boone tactic when a guy is slumping? Let's get him a day off.
Give him a day off.
Let's give him a travel day tomorrow. Let's get him the day off. Soto doesn't take days off.
You don't give Juan Soto a day off.
I'm not saying you should.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying don't you agree? Isn't that a tactic that Boone does?
Boone has done it plenty of times. Yeah. Aaron, but the thing is with Juan Soto, there was an article recently that was I forgot to put it in our chat. We could talk about it next time, but it was about how MLB has been late to the game with why is my brain not working? What's happening in the NBA where you're controlling how much time they're playing?
Load management.
Load management. Thank you.
We've been talking about load management for 3 freaking years.
No, I know we have, but there was an article just recently written about it that was kind of highlighting it, and they're talking about how in the future here expect MLB to do a lot more of it, and you get guys who are pushing back.
Do more load management. The Yankees are going to do more load management.
Yeah, this is
going to give them the whole Tampa series off. Let's just not have them play on the Tampa turf at all.
Yeah, these are the numbers. These are the numbers across baseball. This is what's happening. This is what's projected to happen. But then you get guys like Juan Soto, guys like Alex Bregman, who are slumping. Bregman was slumping mightily, but these guys work through it by playing baseball. They work through it by playing baseball. And I think that is something there. And I know it's not for just slumping. It's for keeping your body ready, making sure that you're able to be fresh and actually have, a similar amount of ability at the end of the season you do at the beginning of the season. That's part of baseball. Some guys don't. It's part of baseball. It's part of the whole grind of the season. It's the reason why it's there. But Juan Soto works through these things. He doesn't need the day off to get his body right or whatever. He needs to take more goddamn swings and stare at the pitcher longer and figure it out.
He's still doing that.
And then he does. I know, and I love it.
Remember when Torres used to say he used to hate giving Jeter days off because he'd be too damn annoying in the dugout?
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, so the number 2 negative from the series is Rizzo was 1 for 13. But really it's about just seemingly whoever's hitting cleanup for the Yankees, or if it's Rizzo hitting cleanup or if it's Stanton hitting cleanup, they don't seem to produce, because Rizzo has been shifted down to the 6th spot on certain days. He's got 11 games in the 6th spot, and he's got over 1,000 OPS hitting 6th. Stanton also, when he's hitting cleanup, has a 539 OPS, and when he's hitting 5th, he's got a 936 OPS. I don't know what's going on here. I know Verdugo's had probably the best results in the cleanup spot, but even we talked last episode, has been slumping.
That doesn't count though, because he's got a newborn. So, he's just exhausted and mentally checked out a little bit because he's thinking about that kid at home that he can't be with. So I understand that part. I'm going to give it. I don't know. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. There's nothing around it. It's the 4 spot. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And there's no real reason why when you put someone in the 4 spot that they start slumping. There's no real reason.
No, I know there's no reason. I'm just pointing it out as a negative. Listen, you sweep something, there's not a lot of negatives, which is why our number 3 negative is it was only a 3-game series and not a 4-game series, so we couldn't have a 4-game sweep. So thanks, scheduling.
Yeah, need that 4 game. Whenever we play the Minnesota Twins, can you please put 4 games on the calendar? That'd be really helpful.
If you are struggling to maintain a healthy diet for one reason or another, there's busy schedules, no time to cook, or you just have some food cravings, boy, do I have a solution for you. Factor Meals. Factor delivers high quality, fully prepared meals to you. All you have to do is heat them up in the microwave and boom, you're eating amazing food. The Factor process is very easy. You go on their website and choose from over 35 delicious meals each week. You can also customize your deliveries with 60 different add-ons. Highly skilled chefs prepare your food and deliver it right to you. The food is always fresh and never frozen. Heating the meals takes only 2 minutes, and the best part, afterwards, there's no mess, nothing to clean up, no pans, pots, nothing to clean up. Factor has allowed Leanne and I to eat a nice meal even when we have no time to cook after getting the kids all their food and a million other things we have to do between 5 and 7 p.m. every night. Factor is no prep, no mess, just delicious food. That's why I love it. Head to factormeals.com/Bronx50 and use our code Bronx50 to get 50% off. That's half off. That's a great deal. factormeals.com/Bronx50. The positives, because there's quite a few of those. We could have done 10 positives on the series. My first positive was Carlos Rodon not melting down after the start he had to his game on Tuesday. Leadoff home run, single, falls behind the number 3 hitter Castro 3-0. I'm sitting there like, oh, great. Here we go with Carlos Rodon. And he completely turned it around. He battled through that inning. I think he ended up allowing one more hit in that inning, but no more runs, and then ended up going 6 innings. No walks over that time. Only 4 more hits allowed over those 6 innings to settle in after what was a bad couple first batters, which, for me, I'm like, oh, great. Here we go.
Yeah, when you get off to a start like that, Mr. Emotion, you expect to fly a little hot, but he did. He settled in, and he's been controlling the strike zone really well. I think, I don't know what the numbers are on the year compared to his career, but I would expect the walks per nine
look
are
we have
down.
StatCast data in here on walk percentage. He's actually in the top 71 percentile for walks.
Yeah, not
so
surprising.
It's not elite by any means, but
it's better. But it's better than what I expected from him as well, because he will walk guys.
His StatCast page, though, does have some cause for concern. His expected numbers are
Don't you throw a negative into a positive? Don't you sneak a negative into the positive?
I mean, you saw right through me. I mean, I was going to try and just do it subtly, but you saw right through me. His expected ERA is 4.63 versus a 3.31 actual ERA. And really what it comes down to is that his hard hit percentage allowed, his barrel percentage allowed are both bad. And also his ground ball percentage allowed is bad. So when you give up a lot of hard hits in the air, your expected stats are not going to be very good. So you can look at this one of two ways. That by what you're seeing, what your eyes are telling you, and he is pitching much better. Like to your point about controlling the strike zone more, not walking nearly as many guys, not seeming like every single at bat goes to 2-2, 3-2. That's one way you could look at it. Glass half full, glass half empty is, well, this is going to eventually catch up to him, and some of those hits are going to fall some more, and his analytics say your actuals will catch up to your expected over time.
What's interesting about that, and this is where I throw dog shit right in the face of analytics, is these guys are seeing these numbers in real time, right? So why can't they make adjustments knowing that maybe something's going to catch up to them? So they can make adjustments off of the expected stats. And then maybe the expected stats don't happen because they're not expected any longer because they make the adjustment.
You are far.
Do you understand that?
I do. You're far confusing this issue.
No,
they are definitely.
They're looking at the shit in real time. My point is
they're
looking at the shit in real time. So he's noticing also that they're getting hard hit. The barrels are being there and making adjustments. The other thing that doesn't
missing barrels. I'm sure he's trying to miss barrels.
No, yeah, but there's reason why the barrels are there. Maybe he's missing a location because of a particular thing, and he's able to make a particular tweak that allows him to rise to ride a fastball a little bit different, or taking a tick off of a fastball or the slider, changing the grip up a little bit to make it cut across the plate a little bit more. I don't know. There's little things that you can make adjustments on. So that's why I really trust Matt Blake right now a lot. I really do.
How could you not? They've got a sub 3 team ERA.
But he's also, it's not even just that. It's you go season over season, like this guy has found the right recipe for so many people to do the right thing on the pitching side. It's been pretty remarkable. And so I think he's making those adjustments. And the other thing that they're not really telling as far as the analytics, and when I'm reading them and what they're telling to me, is that this guy is in situations where he knows that, I don't even know how to explain this. He's being clutch in mini moments. Like he's bearing down and
not imploding in that.
Not
first
imploding,
inning.
but not also not walking guys. Like he's really like composing himself within the at bat and competing at a really high level to finish off the at bats. And I think that's a big part of who he is and the type of competitor that he is. But yeah, I don't know. I think that when you look at how you started off the game and it's that bad, because you could argue that that's not a good way to start with your first 3 at bats, and then you come in and you bear down. Like That's a really big win in the player's mind when you walk off the mound in the first inning.
That's right. It was a positive. It's in the positive category.
I'm bringing it back to the positive category.
So through 9 starts this year, he has 49 innings pitched. That's 5 1/3 per start, 3.31 ERA, 4.42 FIP, 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, 2.6 walks per 9 innings, 1.5 home runs allowed per 9 innings, and an 87 ERA minus, meaning he's 13% better than league average. 100 is league average. If you compare that to his first 9 starts last year, he was averaging 4.2 innings per start, so he's getting 2 more outs on average per start. So I guess one area of improvement, still like to see him go a little bit deeper in games, but I think that's also been skewed a bit from the first few starts where he didn't even get through the 5th inning. He had a 5.70 ERA, a 6.63 FIP. He was walking 4.5 pretty much per 9 innings, only striking out 7.8 per 9 innings, allowing 2.3 homers per 9 innings, and a 1.36 ERA minus, meaning he was 36% worse than league average. So
ERA minus, is that a new one? I don't remember that.
So ERA minus is a Fangraphs stat.
Numbers.
Yeah, I don't like that ERA, that Fangraphs uses ERA minus to do relative to the league, and Baseball Reference does ERA plus, which is the same thing, just the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And I pulled these numbers from Fangraphs. I mix and match with numbers, so people will hear me talk about WRC plus and OPS plus.
Oh, half the people have no idea what you're saying. He's just saying a bunch of numbers, and we're expecting it to be good. Did I catch a niner in there?
I like the plus and minus stats relative to league average. I think that those are useful stats. He's been, if I said to you, while I'm doing this, Logan Ilya, can you look up the rest of the starters' ERA minuses? Because let's do a gut check. Like, how much better than league average has this guy been? If I said to you that Rodon has been 13% better than league average, doesn't that pass the gut check with what you've seen? Like, better, but not like significantly better
than league average. I would have said higher than that. I think the whole rotation probably feels higher than that.
Well, the whole rotation is higher, but he's on the lower end of the rotation when you compare it to Luis Hill, Clark Schmidt,
which is wild. It's
crazy. It's craziness.
And you mentioned something also, like when you're talking about the how you don't expect a particular thing early in the season when he didn't get through 5 innings, but that was everybody. Nobody's going deep into the game in the first 2 to 3 starts of the season.
But he was going 4 1/3 in the first start.
But traditionally in April, especially the beginning of April, you got guys, your first couple starts, you're not looking to get that pitch count way up there, especially on the New York Yankees.
Talking 5 innings, Scott.
Especially on the New York Yankees. Yeah, well, that was the thing. His pitch count was up too. It wasn't because he was, being pulled after 5 innings. It's because his pitch count was high enough, was so high that he had to get pulled.
Yeah.
He's throwing more strikes, and he was walking guys. He's throwing more strikes now.
So what do you think Marcus Stroman's ERA minus is?
I would say it's probably right around league average.
It's better than league average. I don't
remember.
93.
88.
Okay, that's close.
Who do you want next?
Clark Schmidt. Let me take a guess.
Go for it.
128. Or excuse me, or it would be ERA minus. So what was? God damn it! Quick math. 72.
Scott, you want to go? No.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
78.
Okay. And now Luis Hill, he's got to be. He might be even better. 69. Nice.
67. Real close though.
I'm close on this shit.
And
those all 67. So 67. So that means he's 33 points better than league average.
Yep.
Yeah.
Luis Hill.
That's very good.
Hey, my predictions are looking good.
Oh,
so
yeah, they really are.
But I think for that kind of stat, for that kind of nerd stat, that is informative, and that also for me passes the gut check, which I've watched all season.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. So I just continue to trust my gut. Got it. Thank you, nerds.
Aaron Judge, he's been on a heater, as we talked about, over the last 2 series. 450 batting average, 593, 1,000 slugging, 9 extra. It was at 9 extra base or 7 extra base hits, 9 hits. He
had 19 doubles on Wednesday night.
It's crazy. Last 15 days, 432 batting average. Last 30 days, 316 batting average. Aaron Judge has seemingly figured it out.
Yeah, and he's barreling up the ball in a big way, baby. This guy doesn't seem like he's missing the barrel. On Wednesday night, he had even off the. He actually did miss the barrel. He hit that last double that was misplayed by the center fielder. Was hit off the end of the bat.
It wasn't every ball misplayed by that center fielder.
Yeah, one of the balls that was missed. It was the last double that he hit over his head. He hit off the end of the bat and probably should not have gotten as far and as hard as he did. But Aaron Judge is a massive human being with superhuman strength, and was able to continue to hit rockets even off towards the end of the bat. So yeah, the guy's locked in, and he's seeing everything, and that's terrible news for pitchers, because with as big as he is, that's such a difficult thing for pitchers. I'm sure, is that, like, where do you go? He's got such ridiculous plate coverage that okay, then he just spits on it.
No, that is the place though. You go extended over the plate, even outside corner. He doesn't need to pull the ball to hit a home run. When he's locked in, he's just flipping balls to right field 390
But
feet.
that's the thing. You go in on him and he will turn the ball and he will hit it to left field.
Yes, I know. But that is where, if you looked at his heat map, every hitter getting jammed, like no one likes to get jammed. That's why Jose Altuve stands basically in the dugout. Like he's 9 feet off the plate because he doesn't want to get jammed. Rizzo's the only one who doesn't mind getting jammed. He's freaking eating the plate.
Yeah, he is. And Judge, has that, quasi open stance where he's just inviting it in the beginning and then closes up to extend across the plate. And if it's too far off the plate and breaking balls where he was struggling early and identifying those early, now he's spitting on them and they can't go anywhere else. So he's just, if you make a mistake to him, you're going to pay. And this is exactly what Soto was doing in the first month of the season. So can you imagine, let's put ourselves in that perspective, when they're both doing it, or you have these two guys to contend with when you're in the middle of a playoff game, how a pitcher has to be incredibly careful. And also, where does this also affect Anthony Volpe in that leadoff spot? You know damn well, if these guys are on like this, he's just going to continue to get balls over the plate. He's going to continue to get good pitches. And if he's adds that level of consistency, which we're all looking for, and he's back on the good side right now, he's going to have an unbelievable year, because he's going to have every opportunity, because no one wants to pitch to Juan Soto and then Aaron Judge coming up behind him. So it's on Anthony Volpe at this point to make the right decision, to be able to see the pitches well and put good swings on balls over the plate, because he's going to get a lot of them.
Another thing about Judge and Soto, neither of them had a day off.
I love it.
I know Judge is DH'd a bit more than Soto. Do you think that do you think Judge playing every day? Because I bet by now we would have all said, yeah, Judge will have at least one off day. You think the fact that Soto doesn't take off days, Judge is like
affecting?
Yeah. Like, no, maybe. I'm going out there. Like, I'm the captain. That guy's playing every day. I'm playing every day.
Yeah, it might. It actually might. That's the type of mentality that a guy like Juan Soto brings to the clubhouse.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing for Judge?
It's a good thing. In the same breath as we talked about load management, it's a goddamn good thing. I love rhythm baseball, and these guys feed off of that. So yeah, he had to work himself out of something, and he played every day to do it. And you think he's going to get a day off? You think Aaron Judge, especially like what you just said, after struggling? No, he's going to continue to stay in there.
How many games played do you think they each end up with? I mean, obviously injuries are a factor here, but it's like, let's play a fantasy world where neither of them has to go on the IL this year.
Well, Soto is a 160 guy.
I know that.
So, I mean, Judge will be lower than that, but I expect north of 150. I think he'll be north of 150 if he's healthy.
I mean, he hasn't had a day off, and it's the middle of May. So if you're even 150, you'd be getting a day off every 3 weeks, and then you're on.
Yeah, I mean, we got the dog days of summer coming, so it gets hot and humid, and fatigue becomes more of a factor in the middle of the season, towards the end of the season. So I think that the rate of him getting days off will probably be expedited a bit as the season goes on and towards the end, depending on what the situation is for where they are within a pennant race or the wild card and all that.
Yeah, and and they even played a doubleheader, and they both played both doubleheaders, which is surprising.
It's really hard to win doubleheaders. both of them.
The third positive is Marcus Stroman had a bounce back start, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs. His ERA is 3.33 for the season, and like we just said, his ERA minus is 93 or 95 or whatever it is, so a bit better than league average. He's averaging just over 5 1/3 per start. But if you compare this to his previous 6 starts, when he pitched 30 2/3 innings over those 6 starts, allowing 35 hits, 19 walks. That is so many base runners for just 30 innings. 18 runs, a 5.28 ERA, and a 9.25 OPS allowed in his prior 6 starts.
Yeah, I mean, even still here, I mean, he's still what, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 walks. That's
5 base runners.
That's not easy to navigate for most people.
But that's less than 1 per inning.
For most people, that's not you're not coming out of that with no runs. You know, a lot of guys are giving something up, but he does damage control when he's out there. He's very good at that.
Didn't help. Volpe's error didn't help.
It didn't help.
That was another base runner, but I guess that's obviously not credited to his line, but that's another
right. But it goes to the point that he is able to work out of jams. I mean, like he is that guy. He's able to get ground balls. And as long as the defense is playing, like you're going to expect that Marcus Stroman's going to get a ground ball if there's a base runner on. So him walking a guy, letting a guy on the base path, not the worst thing in the world because of his ground ball rate too. So, and which I love, that's a very good thing. If you're looking towards, important games, a guy that can come out there and pitch, towards the end of a series and be a ground ball guy, be able to get in and out of trouble. It's a good thing to have.
We were talking last week about, when Cole comes back, who's the odd man out?
Dude, I don't know. There's some decisions to be made. There's some decisions to be made because there's a lot of guys. I was joking for one of the positives. Obviously, it didn't make it on here, but the AA Somerset Patriots, a lot of major leaguers that are running through that town and that stadium right now. There's a lot of guys that are damn close to coming back. So
I get Somerset Patriot emails all the time, and I have no idea how they got my email.
I know how.
Okay, how?
We were going to have an event.
Oh yeah. I remember now. Yes,
we had an event ready to go there. We had a whole thing.
Yes,
and then COVID screwed it all up, along with many other plans.
Well, I'm on their email marketing list. The Yankees starters in the series, 20 innings, 1 run, 11 hits. It's silly how much they shut the Twins' bats down.
And this is a team that can hit. This is a team that can hit.
They averaged 6.5 runs over that 20-something game span in which they were hottest team in baseball. They blanked them. They blanked them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were also talking about...
Marty Bloke, man. Marty Bloke.
Because of the hard decisions, though, you didn't mention Dominguez, and that's the one everyone's talking about. And I was listening to Michael Kay.
He's in Somerset. He's one of the guys I was referring to.
I was listening to Michael Kay talk this week, and I can't help but think he knows something. Where he's saying, well, where are they going to play Jason Dominguez? Barring an injury, where are you going to put him on this roster? Going to have to keep him in the minors, barring an injury. He said this like 3 different times. I think he knows that's their plan when Dominguez is ready to come off the IL.
I think that, yes, he's going to get, we talked about this last episode a little bit, where he's going to get an extended spring training type thing. They're not in a rush to get him up to the major leagues. But if he's ripping the minor leagues apart, they're not going to be able to keep him down there. The problem is that there's just obviously not as many, there's not an open spot for him to play every single day. So you're weighing the factor of him playing every day, continuing to develop, which is a necessity for him. He's still a very young player, has a very short amount of time in the major leagues, coming off of a major injury. You need him to keep, you can't have him sit 2 to 3 times a week as a young guy like that. He needs to play every day. Like that's what he's accustomed to. He's got to continue to develop as a baseball player. So if that opportunity is in AAA for an extended period of time, then yeah, I think they might keep him down there for a little bit longer. But again, if he's destroying the ball and he's just telling everybody in the world that, hey, I'm so much better than this level of competition, they're not going to have much of a choice.
That's going to put so much pressure though on basically Verdugo and a little bit on Stanton too.
I think Stanton, yeah.
But both of those guys, because either of those guys goes 0 for 4, it's what the hell are you doing? You've got Jason Dominguez in the minors. Why are we going 0 for 4 with Stanton tonight and not having Jason Dominguez? Why is Verdugo going grounding into a double play? We've got Jason Dominguez. Obviously, that's not going to happen if Soto or Judge do something bad, because you're never going to play Dominguez over one of those guys. But that's a lot of pressure on Stanton and Verdugo, assuming Dominguez is healthy and hitting well in the minors.
Yeah. I mean, look, none of this is bad. This is all good. I think this is absolutely all good. The depth that's coming up right now, and I was just looking at where they are, and we talk about this team and Brian Cashman specifically, to be able to prepare the New York Yankees for all hell. You know, after last year, you better be goddamn ready for when someone goes down. And when you look at who's coming back and where there are decisions, because there are a bunch of there's LeMahieu is going to take Jones' spot. That's pretty simple. It's not that difficult. But then you have John Birdie and Cabrera, who are, good bats off the bench. And when you look back at some of the Yankees championship teams and some of the better teams that they have, they always had that big bat, or, a steady bat or a consistent bat off of the bench, someone you could rely on. And I feel like, again, barring injury, I know.
Are you talking like a Darryl Strawberry off the bat or off the bench type of thing?
It's a different game today, but yes, I am. And that, you have Dominguez up here. Let's say Dominguez is playing and you either have Verdugo or you have Stanton. Someone's going to have to be on the bench for late in the game.
Stanton's the 8th inning pitch hitter.
What are you going to do? You have one of those guys that's going to be on the bench, and you have a legitimate Major League Baseball player who can hit the ball a very long way at a high level, in theory, at the end of the game, that Boone / Brian Ausmus have the ability to play a matchup in a big moment. And what has been the biggest problem with the New York Yankees late in the season, in the playoffs? Everybody wants to go to the pitching. That's the pitching. It hasn't been the pitching. The pitching actually has been fine. It's been the situational hitting. It's been them getting a big hit in a big moment. And if you're able to get a better matchup in a big moment with a bat that you trust off of the bench, which has not happened in a very long time, this year is setting up for the type of depth where they can do that.
You trust Stanton coming up in a big moment, key matchup, reliever throwing
over Willie Calhoun? Yeah. At least I have the option. Yeah. If you have a lefty on the mound and you have a right-handed bat,
we were talking about this when Trent Grisham had to hit in the 9th inning as the tying run, lefty on lefty. Obviously, that's not ideal. Obviously, you'd rather have Giancarlo Stanton in that opportunity.
But that's exactly how this is setting up. That is exactly. You have LeMahieu coming back. You have a John Birdie who's a different, and you have a variety of type of hitters. You don't have just one type of guy. You have, and even you go down the line, even Oswaldo Cabrera is a guy that has pop, that has the ability to do different things on the base. He's not a, oh shit, he's the only guy we have. I still got some hope with him, and he's probably a 4th option at that point.
Do you think this is going to be the first year in baseball history for any team that everyone stays healthy and this is a big problem? Or do you think somebody's going to go on the shelf at some point, because they always do, and this decision is made for them?
100%. And that's exactly correct. That will happen at some point. Someone will go down. Something will happen. And the depth is there for that too.
Right.
But in theory, as long as it's not happening at the end of the year, or if it's a long-term injury,
or like a catastrophic thing where you're like, oh great, this is not,
then you're playing load management game, and you're getting them ready for, the end of the season for a playoff run. And then look, you have your depth within a playoff series. And I know it's May and I'm talking about the playoffs, but goddamn, this is what this team should be. Yeah. Well, we should be talking about this. This team, this is a playoff team.
Do you remember back in 2015 where we spent every episode, maybe half of the episode, just being like, why is Stephen Drew playing? Why isn't Rob Refsnyder up?
Rob Refsnyder's having a good year over in Boston.
Apparently everyone in Boston is.
Good for him. Good for Rob Refsnyder.
We might be doing that for this summer with why is Jason Dominguez hitting 360 in Scranton?
Yeah, well, it's different. There's no Stephen Drew on this team, so there's no Stephen Drew type player on this team either. That's blocking a spot. Unless you're calling Gleyber Torres Steven Drew.
I was going to say, it's been the most Steven Drew-esque. The Yankees are coming home to play the Chicago White Sox this weekend. Saturday has a ton of great seats available on the Game Time app. My pick for the section I would sit in, section 224. 2 seats are available for $93 each. Section 224 is like middle level, smack over the third base dugout. It's an amazing view, probably my favorite pick of value seat in the stadium, and you can get them for less than $100. That's a really good deal. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, meaning buying tickets to a baseball game on Game Time is now even faster and easier. The Game Time app has a ton of great features. Some of my favorites include the flash deals, so you can see what sections the best deals are in. The deals are in. The all-in pricing, so you don't have any surprise fees at checkout. And the real pictures, which I noticed today, pan. So you get a nice panorama of the whole stadium. So you're not just looking at the home plate in these pictures. They pan around so you can see everything. Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for sporting events, but you can also find tickets for concerts, comedy shows, theater, and much more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account and use code BRONX, BRONX, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The White Sox suck.
Can I tell you something before we talk about the shitty White Sox that we really shouldn't spend that much time on?
We're not gonna.
Okay, so this was coming out earlier. I saw Jack Curry tweet about it. I guess he's got a podcast. I forget what it's called. It's on Yes Network. Talks to all sorts of people. And he had Steinbrenner on and was talking about Juan Soto. And direct quotes from Hal Steinbrenner said he would like to see the 25-year-old slugger remain in pinstripes for the rest of his career. I don't think there's any doubt of that, Steinbrenner said. His agent, Scott Boras, doesn't tend to normally do deals in the middle of the season. Neither do I. I should read this like Larry David. I think it could be a distraction. But as I said in spring training when I met with him, with the media, this is a unique situation and very unique player. So I wouldn't be shocked if there was a conversation or two had possibly during the course of the season. I think that it's worth doing at some point. I wanted to give Juan time to settle in. Have a conversation with him at some point and make sure that obviously the most important thing is this is a place he can see himself long term.
You really couldn't wait to read that when we had the question about signing Juan Soto in the mailbags?
Well, let's answer that question right now. Let's read that question. No, okay. I'm a child. When something pops into a notification, I have to read it.
Mailbags. Let's just finish up the stupid White Sox. They stink. They're like the worst pitching staff, top 5 worst in everything. The Yankees should crush this team. The other thing I wanted to talk about, though, was just the AL East standings, because it's a race, but the Red Sox are in this race somehow. They have the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball, the Red Sox. As good as the Yankees have been, when I pulled these numbers before today, I know the Yankees ERA went down again today. The Red Sox had an even better 2.77 team ERA than the Yankees, which was 2.98 entering today. Still a sub-3 team ERA. We're now in the middle of May. That blows my mind. That is insane.
It's crazy. And name 3 pitchers on the Red Sox.
Chris Sale,
I'm just saying, like
he got traded. Freaking guy from the White Sox hurt his arm in the middle of. I don't know.
Not playing. That's the point. Like, these guys are a bunch of no names and they're performing. So you want to talk about expected stats? I'd like to see what their expected stats are, because I got a hunch that it's not going to last.
Well, the Orioles are definitely there to last. They lead the American League in runs, almost 5 per game, and they're 4th in Major League Baseball. Tampa has a negative 30 run differential despite a 500 record. And Toronto's offense really has been one of the worst in baseball, 3rd worst in baseball. Toronto is not scoring runs. So you're saying the Red Sox are going to crash back down to earth, and it's going to just be Yankees Baltimore as the
of course the 2.77 ERA is the most
the Yankees
sustainable thing I've ever seen.
Yankees is 2.9. That's not sustainable either.
Let's all be honest. It's not sustainable either, but I think the guys, when you look at, we have Garrett Cole coming back too. So maybe it is a lot more sustainable, but Anything sub 3 as a team, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's just
When's that happened? A sub 3 team
probably
ERA.
I would guess it's if it has happened for an entire season, I would guess dead ball era or the year of the pitcher in whatever that was, 1968.
Let's look that up. I can't think of Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves, maybe.
No, because that was in the height of the steroid era. So like a good ERA then was like 3.3.
Okay. I mean, a sub 3 team ERA is wild.
It may have never happened in baseball history. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I just was scrolling through. So in 2022, 2 teams did a sub 3 ERA for the whole season.
It just happened.
The Dodgers and the Astros.
They were sub 3.
Dodgers were 2.80 and Houston was 2.90.
What?
2.80? 62 games.
That's crazy.
I just started to scroll through the seasons and I got there. It didn't happen in 2020 doesn't count.
I mean, it may, if you think about what today's game is, because of all the specialization in the bullpen, it does make sense that it would be lower now.
Yeah.
You know what though? That seems to be an outlier because now I'm back to 2015 was the time before that St. Louis.
Okay, but I would have said, like I said, I thought it was decades since that happened. That just seems so crazy to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
All right, we're going to get to mailbags. But first, whether you are a world-class athlete or podcaster like us, we understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. That's why we are excited Unified Healing is once again sponsoring this episode of the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Unified Healing is a new and innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. If you have not heard of this, then you want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you are in the New York City area or anywhere else around the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/Bronx to learn more and find a center near you. UNIFYDhealing.com/Bronx. Just go check it out on the website. See if it's something that you want to check out. No material or testimonial on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. I've read a lot. You want to read the Lee Jones one? Mailbags? Sure. Info at BronxPinstripes.com. I'm loving that mailbags are back. We just had to ask.
Too. Yeah, we forgot a little bit.
It's like 3 years we forgot.
Yeah, thanks for sending these in, guys. Keep them coming. It fuels us. It's fun, and you know, it gives us some things that we don't have to think of, which is great. It's just some reaction. By the way, we're recording this on Thursday evening. Kind of like it. Drinking a beer. It's nice. Reminds me of old days. Okay, hey guys, there's a lot of understandable talk about re-signing Soto, but what are your thoughts on Verdugo? Even when he was with Boston, I couldn't help but like his swagger. And when we traded for him, I felt sure that it was a perfect storm, a contract year and a chance to show the Red Sox what they're missing out on whilst it's such an English thing at their greatest rivals. I love it. Small sample size granted, but he seems to be a great fit on and off the field. As much as Stanton has improved this year, I can't help but feel that in an ideal world, next year's outfield should be comprised of Judge, Soto, Verdugo, and Dominguez, with odd man out being DH on any given day. What are your thoughts? Keep up the great work. Go Yankees. Lee Jones, Liverpool, England.
I know we have a question about the Soto specifically signing. I think it's just going to be, they're not going to sign both of them. And if you had to pick, who are you going to pick?
So, but why are they not going to sign both of them? I don't think it's actually about the contract necessarily. As much about the contract. I think it's more about Jason Dominguez.
Dominguez is going to need a place to play regularly every day. As we just had this conversation about, if he comes up this year, where's he going to play? You're not going to then lock in 2 outfielders this offseason to multi-year deals where you already have Judge locked into a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
You're basically then saying, Dominguez, you're not in our plans. And then what are you doing with him? You trading him? What's going on? Do you not trust him?
And I know Lee is using the DH as an odd man out situation, but I mean, and I know we're not in this scenario here, counting Giancarlo Stanton as an outfielder, but he is a player that's on the roster that does need to hit
for 17 more years. He's on the roster.
for him to play, he's got to hit, and it's got to be in that DH spot. So you can't sign a guy like Verdugo to a multi-year deal and then have him be a fourth outfielder. That's just, he's not going to sign that deal. He's going to want to play every day. And Dominguez, as we just kind of talked about, young guy, still got to develop, even in full year number one. I mean, this is going to be what, 3/4 of a year, maybe half of a year, whenever he comes up. But first you need him to develop. He's still he's still developing. He's still figuring things out. He's still got to learn the major league. So you want him playing every single day, especially, when you're going into a season. So I think Verdugo is playing for a contract, but I think it's somewhere else. That said, great fit. And as we know, Rizzo and Judge and maybe other guys were pining for him and kind of lobbying for Verdugo to be part of the team. And obviously no love lost with Boston, because they didn't want him there anymore, because for whatever reason,
I think Cora was a driving factor in getting.
Yeah, he and Cora didn't, water and oil right there. Clearly didn't, we're not on the same page and didn't get along for whatever reason.
He just needed Uncle Aaron Boone to be the manager.
He's the cool dad. Just need the cool dad.
Well, let's read the question from David Haas, because this goes hand in hand with the one we just read. He says,
I'll hit it. Okay. Let's go. I'm on a roll. I might crack another beer. Love the show. Thank you, David. Wish I could hear you every day. No, you do not. Soto, every Yankees fan, including me, wants to sign Soto, but what does that do to the payroll? Let's say they give Soto a contract worth around $50 million AAV. That would mean the Yankees have 3 players, Judge, Cole, and Soto, with payroll equaling $126 million. Add Stanton and Rodon. That brings you to $186 million. Adding the luxury tax for all 5 players, now you're at $362. That doesn't leave a lot of room for flexibility, hiring other quality players. Not saying we shouldn't sign Soto, but we better hope the farm system is fantastic.
Yeah, just quickly on the numbers, though. SpotTrack has the 24 Yankees. I guess it would be the 25 Yankees in $202 million in guaranteed contracts. Part of this, though, is a club option of $17 million on Rizzo, Trevino of $5 million, and Weaver on $2.5 million. That 202 number does not include arbitration players, which you estimate they'll settle with a lot of them to bring that number up. Soto at $50 million a year. Like, remember, Soto's making $31 million right now. So it's not like you're going from 0 to 50 million for Soto. You're going from 31 million to 45 or to 50 million or whatever he's going to get on the market. There's other guys that are going to be coming off the books. Like, does anyone expect them to sign Gleyber Torres at this point? No. And he's making, what is he making? 10 or 12 million bucks this year in arbitration. A free agent contract would warrant him at least that, probably on an AAV level. He's not going to be on the books this year. Or next year. So
does LeMahieu have 1 more year after this?
I think 2 more years.
2 more?
Because he signed after the 2020 season. Right?
You want to go completely crazy in some wacko thoughts here. The Rizzo $17 million option is not looking as locked in as I would have once thought it was.
Definitely not.
And with this with the crowded outfield, who knows? Maybe there's someone else who could play first base out there.
Who would it be?
Well, if you want a lefty at there, maybe Verdugo could do it. That's one. So if
Verdugo's going to sign a free agent.
Verdugo, if he loves the Yankees that much, him at first base,
Verdugo's
talking shit to everybody who comes there.
He's not a good offensive first baseman. He's a good offensive. He's a good offensive. He's a good offensive.
Okay, and then the other obvious thing here is that there's a big man out there who's played every position in the outfield, who's also taken some ground balls at first base every spring training. Maybe he takes a few more. Maybe they just figure that out.
I think we've seen what bad first base defense does to an infield, and to go into a season with not a real first baseman.
Yeah.
I think would be tough.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to happen, actually.
But I think, to David's point, like the money, whatever Steinbrenner said in that interview with Curry or whatever it is, if they're talking now, if they're not, whatever, they can figure out the money. This is going to come down to, does Soto want to be a Yankee, and do the Yankees want Soto to be a Yankee? Those two things.
Well,
now
the Yankees want Soto to be a Yankee. We don't know if Soto wants to be a Yankee.
They're saying that. We think that. And if Soto wants to be a Yankee, I think it's going to happen too.
Yes.
But
Verdugo, I agree because we've talked about this.
Verdugo could come back into play, though, if for whatever reason Soto doesn't want to be a Yankee next year.
Yes. That's exactly it. That is a scenario. So you still want him to enjoy his time here. You still want him to be a thing because you want it to be an option. Because you're right. Juan Soto, look, Steinbrenner was just alluding to the fact that he's willing and open and wants to have negotiations with Scott Boras about Juan Soto in the middle of the year. They want to extend him now. And they're pretty much going to say, you know what? You can go on the free agent market. That's great. What do you expect you're going to get on the free agent market? Because we'll pay it.
I picture, like, I don't know, whatever Scott Boras was doing at that very moment, as soon as Steinbrenner put those words into the ether, Boras just went, what? Just heard money cha-chings, just heard a cash register going.
Here's what's crazy. David's not far off with the AAV, right? Like, I think we all kind of agree it's going to be probably around that. There's not a lot of,
I bet mid-40s.
But there's not a lot of mystery about what he's going to get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I said 15 years. My bold prediction was 15 years.
It's not going to be a bidding war on the AAV. You're right. It might be a time thing, but it's not. We're pretty much like at the limit of we go to the limit because that's where it's going to be. We know where it's going to be. It's not a mystery. It's not like some team is going to come out of absolutely nowhere and pay him X amount more. They're all going to be around the same. It's going to be a fit thing. It's going to be where does Juan Soto want to be? And then the number that they're asking for, they're going to get it. That's how it's going to go down.
What if
So he doesn't need, my point is that he doesn't need to hit free agency for him to get the number that he wants. He could do it now.
When you're talking about a player like this that's going to get so much money in so many years, like I don't know that we've seen this in baseball. I think this has happened in other sports, even percentage of ownership or things like that as part of contracts. Like, what if that comes into play? Not saying the Yankees would do that, because I don't think the Yankees would do that. But what if has that happened in like American? I think it happens in soccer, doesn't it?
I
think it does. Yeah, I don't know that it's happened in American pro sports, but
yeah.
But we've seen players retire and then go into ownership. Like, so it's not that outlandish that, like, oh, as part of this contract, when you retire, your equity in the team kicks in or something like that.
Yeah, there's also a restriction on any kind of ownership while you're playing, isn't there?
So it would probably have to be after. But all I'm saying is you're going to get to a point in a contract where you're right. It's almost like here's a piece of paper, fill in the AAV and fill in the years. What else can we offer you?
Right. And there's also only a handful of teams that are going to be able to pay him the money that he's going to ask for. So you're talking to one of them, you're in the clubhouse of one of them, the team that can match any offer on the table is willing to come out there and pay what he wants because they understand that this guy needs to be on this team for the rest of his career. They cannot let this guy get out the door. So, I know it's unprecedented because Boras doesn't do this and Steinbrenner doesn't do this, but this situation kind of calls for it. It's right there for them because, again, not a lot left to the imagination of what he's going to get paid.
It'd be crazy though if this happened with Soto and it didn't happen with Judge. Mid-year contract is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
it's a different feeling just because he's a one-year rental.
But if we thought it was going to happen with anyone, it was going to be Aaron Judge. Like when he went into opening day and then it was like they offered him a contract hours before opening, we were like, "What are you doing?" It was such a cluster.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was weird.
Cashman had a press conference.
Yeah,
2 hours before first pitch, talking about the numbers he offered Judge. It was so weird. And then he hit 62 fucking home runs.
Judge made them. That was the dumbest thing you could. That was pure fuel for that man. He goes out there and sets a freaking home run record.
So just like. Not that Judge is like, but it's like for the common man. Like, you did that for the everyday man, Judge.
So, I mean, can we learn from our mistakes though? I mean, maybe it didn't happen with Judge. It should have, but it didn't. It actually worked out for Judge most likely. But
Well, if
Again,
we believe the number of whatever it was, 270 that they offered him before opening day.
You know what Soto's going to get already because that mark is kind of already set.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple more. You want to keep reading? You good?
Sure. Yeah. I got to scroll back down here.
From James Greenspan.
James. Hey guys, big fan of the pod. Haven't missed an episode in years. Thank you, James. Appreciate you, man. Started listening during COVID. All the history episodes really helped pass that lousy time. Glad to hear it. I am also a North Jersey guy, so enjoyed hearing about the Ramsey train station and the traffic that you guys mentioned a few weeks back. So he knows all about Brady's too. I know you do events at the stadium, but being old, I have 8. I missed it.
How old is he, Scott?
I have 8 and 10-year-old
kids. No.
I'm going to leave the privacy with this man, okay? No one's trying to dox James Greenspan and his age. This it's expensive and annoying to make it out to the stadium sometimes, since at least you are still local, wondering if there's ever considered doing a North Jersey local game watch at a bar.
James, I'll go to Brady's and watch a game with you. I live within walking distance of it.
There you go. My cousin will be there too. I'll tell you what bar still he's at. In terms of the mailbag, about the depth chart and returning players first, the rotation. With Cole back, hopefully in about a month, assuming that everyone's healthy, who comes out of the rotation when Cole gets back. Heel and Schmidt would be the 2 most likely candidates, but they're the 2 pitching the best right now as they are both sub-3 ERAs. Turning to the hitters, same question with the Martian. What the heck are they going to do with Stanton, assuming that Judge, Soto, and Verdugo are all healthy? Appreciate the mailbags coming back. And even though I'm not British, maybe if you read this with a British accent, it'll be more likely to make the cut and air. Cheers.
We already talked about Dominguez a bunch, and we touched on the pitching thing. But Cole's coming back. Cole's starting Friday night. Who's coming out of the rotation?
I think it's more of a question of who's going to go into the bullpen. Who's the better fit for the bullpen?
That's what I mean. I'm not saying
I know, but I'm rephrasing your question.
To the curb.
Honestly, Nestor Cortes.
Yeah, it's got to be. He's pitching the worst. I think if in a month from now Cortes is pitching better, then that's more of a conversation. They're probably going to lean towards heel in that instance because he's just lowest on the priority, whatever. Like he's got the least tenure in that rotation.
He's got the best start of a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball history.
I know that, but he's also coming back from surgery. This is his first season.
We're past that.
These are all reasons.
Yeah. Look, here's where
it can't be Rodon. Process of elimination. We can get to this answer. Mm-hmm. Can't be Rodon.
Right.
It's very unlikely to be Stroman because of the contract he just
and he's
signed.
A veteran guy who's been a starting pitcher his whole career. You're not gonna do. Granted, Nestor is too, but Nestor's been in different situations. Nestor was DFA'd, was sent was on a Rule 5 to the Orioles, then released.
He takes the subway to the games. Yeah. He's the man of the people. Clark Schmidt, this is 50 times better than we ever thought we were going to get out of Clark Schmidt. This is even better than you thought.
Excuse me.
Than you thought. You called him the number 3 pitcher, which was blasphemy at the time.
He is everything that I wanted Sonny Gray to be. Everything.
But Clark Schmidt, like if you start dinking around with him now.
Yeah, do not do that.
Right.
This guy is actually finding it. You keep him where he is.
And now we're down to Cortes or Heel.
And here's the thing with Heel. I don't think Heel translates into a relief pitcher because of the walks. We've seen how he can get out of it, and he pitches around it sometimes with this as a starting pitcher. He is more accustomed. But if he's coming in and you need 1 inning out of him and he walks 2 guys, not good.
No, that's not good. No, of course. And yeah, Cortes is
and so again, another guy that you shouldn't be screwing with stretching out and shortening him up, stretching him out and shortening him up at this point in his career. No. Nestor Cortes has the ability. The guy's a magician out there. He has the ability to do anything.
It's just, this is crazy that we talked about his home road splits. Like he's freaking unbelievable at home and he sucks on the road. It's netted out to him being pretty mediocre, but like if he could just figure out whatever he's doing at home, if Nestor Cortes was pitching just like basically half as good at home as if he was on the road pitching half as good as he is at home, we'd be like, well, you can't take Nestor Cortes out of the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, you're just down to the options at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
who do you want to? Who has the ability to make that transition?
Cortes. I agree. It would be Cortes. He's the logical choice if Cole comes back tomorrow. And like we talked about with Dominguez, and this decision gets made for you, guess what? This decision is probably going to be made for the Yankees whenever Cole's ready to return.
6-man rotation.
That's not what I meant.
I'm just saying it's possible.
Didn't I say that a couple weeks ago and you were like, no freaking way?
I don't remember.
Check the tape. And one more mailbag question.
Oh, here we go. From Eric. Hi, even though we have over 2 months before the trade deadline, where do you think Yankees will try to improve via trade? It's a good question. And I still think it's in the bullpen. I still think that I think the bullpen is an area where you can get a really, really high quality difference maker of a player at the trade deadline for prospects. That's so like contracts. I'm squarely looking at the closer in Oakland right now. And I know there was an article in Bleacher Report that was like, that mocked it up with some guys. You're going to have to give up a good amount of prospect for it, but you get a guy like that, he's a difference maker.
You're talking about Mason Miller, right?
Mason Miller. Thank you. So I still think it's going to be the bullpen. I think that's one of the areas that, the Yankees have history of doing that in the past. Relievers, are dealt at the deadline. Probably, I have no idea what the numbers are here, but I would beg to argue that the highest percentage of player per position that's traded is a relief pitcher at the deadline.
Do you think if LeMahieu's rehab has another setback, they would try and acquire a more regular infielder?
That's possible. If LeMahieu is not, let's play that game. Let's say LeMahieu's not an option, or he's, back on the shelf for whatever reason. If that is a scenario, I don't think they look at an infielder per se. I think they look at a third baseman at that point.
Yeah, I think you'd have to, because what they've gotten out of Cabrera and Birdie has been really, really nice. But their
value is in the utility, though.
Right, and this team has aspirations of making a deep playoff run, and you'd want somebody a little bit more sure thing at third base there.
This is where they screwed up the IKF thing. IKF should have never been an everyday player. But IKF should have been a utility guy that has the ability to back up and do things.
Even if IKF was on this team, we'd be like, you got to acquire a third baseman.
No, my point is that you don't. That is exactly my point. You don't want Birdie or Cabrera to have to play that position, because then you're asking for too much.
I thought you meant if they had IKF.
No, I'm just saying that's where they screwed it up. They didn't actually have those positions. They had to play him every day, and that was a problem.
And Peraza is still going to be a factor maybe at some point. I'm with you. You shook your head. You kind of just, mocked that. I'm kind of with you on that, but
I'm not mocking it. I have no expectations for him.
Expectations.
He's got to burn the barn down for him to be up here, and it's going to be him versus Cabrera.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's the bullpen, because as great as Holmes has obviously been, and Luke Weaver has been a standout, you still got some questions in that bullpen.
Turd Ferguson's gonna go. I'm sick of looking at him.
Despite how good they've all been, I'm still like, this bullpen comes in, I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, really, Ferguson's the guy that, and he very well may not be on this team for much longer anyway, because you got Canely coming back. You got, there are some folks coming back too. So they're going to press the situation, and we'll see what happens. But I think you can never have enough bullpen arms. You can never have enough, especially when you come to the playoffs. You can never have enough bullpen arms. And if you can get a high quality difference making arm that can strike guys out, and is nasty like a Mason Miller, because that kid
did this article
filthy right now.
You said Bleacher Report. Did they throw Spencer Jones in there, or was not crazy with?
No, it was yeah. I don't even remember who was in it. It wasn't.
It was Arias, Hampton, and Pereira. That's
not correct. Hampton. If you throw Hampton in there, it's.
I mean, Hampton's a good prospect. Arias is the next Dominguez. Like
They acquire Mason Miller. Is he the closer?
No, I think you put him in the 8th inning spot.
but also he's
think-
insurance if Holmes walks.
Is Holmes a free agent after this year?
Holmes is a free agent at the end of the
Oh
year.
wow.
Oh, and this
That's a big
is
deal.
lining up to be a very Brian Cashman move. This is exactly what he does. He gets a guy who has, I assume Mason Miller has multiple years of control as well.
5.5 years.
Yeah.
There you go. This shit
But
has,
he
this
will
shit
miss.
has,
He'll miss 3.5 of those to injury though.
this shit has
Probably.
Brian Cashman written all over it.
I think the days of Brian Cashman signing a 5-year closer contract are over.
Well, that's why you signed this guy who
No,
has
I know.
control for that long.
So it's like I'm not
Because that's exactly what you're doing. You just don't have to pay for it.
like what is Clay Holmes? Like, Clay Holmes has a good year, finishes out this year. Like he's looking at a 4-year, $45-50 million contract, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
No, you're right because of
Yankees aren't giving him that.
not with where the contracts are going to be in the outfield.
Not with Juan Soto getting a blank check.
No, and Stanton for 27 more years. Like you got to pay those outfielders and DH spots for a while. Yeah. So you're going to have to prioritize who's getting those dollars. And frankly, there's no reason for them to do it in the bullpen because they've been so successful with finding guys on the side of the road.
Did we just each preview our GM plans for the midseason trade deadline, trading for Mason Miller?
I mean, I projected that, as soon as I saw him, I fell in love. I was like, God, this guy's got something. Yeah, his arm might fall off by the end of the year because I don't know how he gets that much torque, but goddamn, is it good when it's happening? All these guys, it's crazy how hard everybody can throw. They're all going to be walking around with like
The shelf life on a reliever.
no, they're going to be the non-swing arm episode. Where you don't swing your arms
from Seinfeld.
from Seinfeld. That's where you're going to see all of these pitchers in 25 years, 30 years. They're all going to be walking around with zero mobility in their arms while they walk.
I bet that the average career of a relief pitcher in baseball is now like comparable with like an NFL player, where it's like 3 years or 2.5 years.
I don't know.
Or something like that.
They're coming back from multiple Tommy John surgeries,
I
so
know,
they're
that's
doing
true.
that, and they're not pitching as long, like per outing. Everybody's
I
so
know.
specialized now that I don't know. I think you might be wrong on that one. I think they might have a little bit longer.
All I know is since we started recording this podcast, Tampa has gone through 7 relief pitchers, injury, and called them back up in the past hour and a half. That's where my mind is with these relievers and just like the burnout.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for the mailbag questions. We're going to be doing it again next week on Thursday. info@bronxpinstripes.com if you want to send yours in. Anything else you want to touch on?
I've been checking the email. I've been sending them in too. This has all been working. It's great.
Nice little process we got set up here.
What a system.
Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll talk to you again on Monday.